Hello, hello. Welcome, guys. Happy Wednesday. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. Welcome to Sabs podcast. I have a special guest tonight. Jackson Hinkle's here. He's the host of The Dive. Welcome, Jackson.
How's it going? Thank you for having me on.
Thanks so much for coming on. Okay, so you debated Sam Cedar. I have to tell you, I'm glad I got to watch it live, because if I would have just gone off of clips that I saw on Twitter, there was a lot of like misrepresentation of that debate from what I saw. And I have to say, I don't think that Sam Cedar was prepared for this debate. Like, no. I honestly think he thought this was just, okay, I got to do this thing, and then I have to do this thing after that. I don't think he was prepared. I don't think he gets it. And I got a little concerned, like when your camera like went off, I was like, uh-oh, they're going to try something. They're going to try something. But I have to ask, like, from your experience, like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was a lot of fun. I like debating, and I especially like debating people of the liberal ideology, because I think it's just so easy to point out the flaws in their logic. But I think he was really underprepared as well. He literally just called me on and he's like, so you're a communist, huh? I think he thought we were going to have some sort of like a philosophical debate or theory-based debate or something. I don't really know. But I made it very clear what I wanted to debate him about in my email to him. So I don't know what he really expected. But I'm literally like a psycho when I prep for my debates. Like I always have like 10 pages of debate prep notes ready, like things I can pull from, trying to, address any sort of possible argument he might put forward. And I went through it after the debate with on the live stream. But yeah, I mean, like it was just a lot of fun, because I thoroughly despise him. I thoroughly despise Emma. They lie to their audience all the time, and they protect the squad. And the squad is, herding sheep into the slaughterhouse by sending all of these, probably for the most part, good-minded people who want to oppose imperialist foreign policy and want to support progressive measures in domestic policy. And they're sending them back to the Democratic Party, right? I mean, we're going to talk about it today, but it's like, how is it that, you will occasionally call them out, you will occasionally criticize them, but then like on the biggest, most important things of all, you're just radio silent or giving them, a nod of the head of support. I've never understood it. So I had a lot of fun with it. I thought the reaction was great. We sent him trending number 14 nationwide on Twitter. I don't think he saw that coming. It was pretty much all in that, Twitter trend. It was pretty much all positive stuff about me and, people dunking on Sam for just saying, I don't care, the entire debate. So I thought it was really good.
So I have a clip from that, and I just want to show you guys, like, this is how people will edit and alter videos like on Twitter, and it's not the real, representation here. So I'm going to share my screen, because this is a clip from the debate, and I don't know who edited this, but it was pretty obvious to me that this was doctored. So I'm going to play this really quick.
At this point, it's quite clear that the campaign for force the vote had already basically taken off. And at that point, do we just lose him?
No, I'm still here. My camera just went out. I don't know what happened.
Is that on your end? Because I could actually see me in your camera.
Yeah, no, it must be his.
It's on my end.
Anyways, all right. So and at that point, I realized, like, okay, well, I'm not going to stay in the way of this thing, because let 1,000 flowers bloom was my feeling. It was a dumb ask to have a vote. I'm now watching myself 4 times 4. It was a dumb ask, in my opinion, to have a vote for something that was going to lose. And I think that we definitely saw the failure. Even if it had won, I think it would, and it wouldn't have gone anywhere in the Senate. At this point, it's quite clear that the campaign for force the vote.
For those of you that saw that live, that clip was doctored.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't even know, like, I don't even know where to begin with that. Like, they edited in so much crazy stuff. It's
They tried to
wild.
make it, yeah, they tried to make it seem like Jackson was putting up like, oh, this is my script for the debate, and they tried to make it seem like what he was looking at was Jimmy Dore, AOC, that didn't happen in the live
They
debate.
put in that I was like on Amazon and buying like Hitler books in that video. Like they had and here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's obviously like a meme, like someone meant it to be like a joke. But now whenever I post on Twitter, I have people spamming that in my replies.
Yep.
Emma Vigeland retweeted it. The video is at 75,000 views this morning. What percentage of those people do you think thought that was real? Because Emma didn't tell anyone it was a joke. She made it seem like it was real. Although I know she understands it's a joke. She was there. She watched the debate. She would have called it out in person had it happened live, right then and there. She knows it was a joke. Why not acknowledge it was a joke in your post? Because now I can see in her quote retweets, people are like, oh my God, like crazy. Like people are actually thinking this is real, and they somehow missed this during the live stream. And it just blows my mind, because I'm like, these people are actually insane that they would if I was going to retweet something like this of, Emma Vigeland or something like this, I would at least acknowledge that it was a joke, I don't know. It just blew my mind a little bit.
It was very strange. And I have to ask this too in reference to the debate. How did you feel? Because at one point, like Emma was jumping into the conversation. She wasn't supposed to be part of this debate. The producer, I forget his name, he was also jumping in the conversation.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Like, did you feel like ganged up on? Because I honestly was like, why are they interjecting here?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I told Matt Leach to shut up, because I was like, listen, I didn't come here to debate you. I didn't come here to debate Emma, but they had to go 3-on-1 on me because they were getting steamrolled so bad in the debate. And then Sam was like, Jackson, come on, stop. You can't say shut. It's like, well, he did I come here to debate him? Why is he talking to me? Why is he interrupting you? Are your ideas not strong enough to debate me? So I'm like, I can say whatever I want to him. I can say, shut up. I could have said something way worse. I thought I was pretty restrained to say shut up. Like, why are you interject? And, I predicted that this was going to happen, right? Because on my stream, like the night before or something, I was like, yeah, I bet they're going to do something. I bet they're going to try to pull up that dumb tweet that they always pull up. They think it's hilarious. And like my dad ratioing me, or they're going to try to go 3-on-1 on me or something like that. I predicted all of this because they literally have they have no arguments to stand on. So I don't know. I mean, if they wanted to say like before the debate, hey, we might interject, we might chime in.
Right.
What about going 3-on-1 on this debate, having a group debate? I don't know. Like, I would have been okay with that. But to just like halfway through start like trying to debate me, it was Matt Leach doing what he does so well, leeching off of Sam Seder and trying to get some sort of like attention from this debate that he knew was going to get a lot of views and blow up.
Did you see that when they posted the debate on their channel, they didn't even use Jackson Hinkle's name?
Yeah. They didn't put my name on it, which is not, I expected them to do that because Vosh did that when I debated him as well. And to be fair, I've done that to people that are like very, very small, like that people that don't even have a YouTube, but it's like at that point, if you don't even have a YouTube, like you probably don't really care if I mention your name in the title. Right. But, with me, it's like, I'm a sizable YouTube. I'm getting probably about half their views on average. I think I'm actually averaging more than half of their average viewership right now. So, and I have 30,000 subscribers. So for them to not put my name in the title was to be expected, I guess, but it was just a low move. But then the funniest part was Mediaite, which is some news website, I guess, they posted a story about Sam Seder 2 days ago, and they said like, what was it? They said MSNBC host calls out Joe Rogan, and it was about Sam Seder, and they didn't mention Sam Seder's name on it. So then the Majority Report Twitter account retweeted it and was like, he has a name. His name is Sam Seder. and it went viral, and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what you did to me like 3 days ago. Now you're bitching and moaning over this. It's just so funny.
Absolutely. So I want to get into our first story, which is about the Majority Report. So someone sent this to me early this morning. The first thing I said is, why does this not surprise me? Now, this is in reference to the Democratic Party. I believe this question is coming from a viewer, but this is actually posted on Majority Report's Twitter page. So this isn't a secret or anything. So I'm going to share this with you guys. And then, Jackson, I want to get your opinion about this because I think this speaks a lot or speaks volumes to the divide I think we have on the left. And I've said it over and over again. I think there's a class divide on the left. But let me go ahead and play this.
St. Paul, I don't think you should be so dismissive of the anti-Dem messages that are becoming more common. The point is, I don't know that they're coming more or less.
What is with the IMs today?
The point is that we don't have time for long-term thinking. Accelerationism may be almost certain to fail, but it's not unreasonable to conclude that working with centrist Dems is absolutely certain to fail. We have to face up to the risk that progressive cooperation with the Dem establishment will lead to nihilism for a critical mass of supporters. Well, first off, I don't see evidence of that.
Right.
I just don't see evidence of what you're talking about.
I think I see evidence of a project to hasten that along.
Right, which will lead you to just nihilism, period.
Which I think people should steel themselves against that.
Without a doubt.
You can't have acceleration. You can't be an acceleration. Have a movement of accelerating.
Accelerate what?
Yeah, what are we
Yeah.
accelerating?
There's no movement.
Posting the vote, you're out of your fucking mind if you think that's a serious way to address
There's absolutely zero historical precedent for accelerationism. It's a made up thing because you want to work backwards from your nihilism about the Democratic Party. Stop pretending there's any coherence to the political strategy. Enough.
Aren't they so funny? Aren't they so funny?
And that's posted on their Twitter page.
They posted that themselves?
It's on the Majority Report Twitter page.
Oh my God. They're so funny. Like, you know, when someone chats in our chat and they might say something that's like critical but honest, I don't know. I feel like we just kind of engage with it and we engage with the idea in a respectful manner. Most of the time, sometimes I don't, but most of the time I do, especially if it's a question like that, like something about third parties versus the Democratic Party. I'm going to be respectful and hear their concerns. But you just hear in that video how deeply triggered Emma gets, like the audacity that you ask me about third parties. How could you? Yeah. This is your problem, not everyone else's problem. This is your problem. It's like, it's so wild. It's so wild. I mean, I can't believe they posted on their Twitter account.
I believe that's theirs. I was actually, well, I guess I shouldn't say I was surprised. But what's interesting to me is like, I don't think they get it. I don't think they get it. That like when they say, well, I'm not hearing people say that. You know how many people have contacted me and said they're done with the duopoly, that they're not trying to work with the Democratic Party anymore. And I feel like the people that they're talking to in their circles, those are the people that are going along with them. So that's why they don't really hear this message. I feel like they're just checked out. I don't feel like they're really talking to working class people. I don't feel like they're talking to people, those of us that like supported AOC in the squad, that canvassed for them and for Bernie Sanders, knocked on doors, you know, made phone calls. Those of us who actually were out there active on the ground, I don't feel like they actually talk to those people and hear from those people. I think they just talk to people in their circles.
Yeah. Well, and that's just the thing. Like, Nomiki Konst has been around forever, and she worked, we all know NATO Nomiki Konst, right? She trained Islamist opposition in Libya, lauded the NATO bombings on Libya that destroyed the country. She's worked for numerous think tanks. She was actually, I think, AOC's like speech coach or something, or PR coach for a while. I don't know if she still is, But Sam and Emma, they know everyone on Ilhan and AOC's team. They're very close with their with their networks. And these networks are very tight knit. In fact, there's an article in the New Republic which discusses just how tight knit this new progressive community in DC has become. There's like a bar they all go to once a week, and they'll have like Cori Bush will go some nights. I think Ilhan Omar will go some nights, but you always will find like their staff there and stuff. I think it's like every Thursday or something. It's a very tight knit group of people, and they're all like, the ex like liberal Bernie people or Warren people or like Yang people. And it's very incestuous, and they protect each other. And that's what you see right here. In fact, during Force the Vote, there was actually there's a group chat, and there's another YouTuber that we all know that was in the group chat, and they were in the group chats from a prior Politicon. It was like everyone at Politicon got put in this group chat. New York Times journalists were in it. Other YouTubers were in it. Chapo Trap House people were in it. And then when the time of Force the Vote came around, all of those people, with the exception of the one person we know who I'm not going to name, were like sending like the most hateful things about Jimmy Dore and like Breonna Joy Gray and everyone involved in Force the Vote. It's really crazy how much they will go to bat to protect the squad and not criticize them. And that's what we're continuing to see here from the majority report, and their continued protection of the Democratic Party as a whole, because that's what it's all about. It's not just about protecting the squad. It's about protecting the duopoly and the two-party infrastructure in the Democratic Party, because that's where their money comes from.
And in reference to movements, because I heard Nomiki bring up movements, like the civil rights movement and the women's movement was not done through electoral politics. And this is what I really want people to understand. Like, you have to get people out in the streets. Like, we've been trying this game for like, what has it been, little over 5 years now, of putting progressives through the Democratic Party. And I told people this before, the squad, that was the last hope for me. Like, after them, I was like, that's it, I'm done. How many times do they expect us to continue to be duped? And how long are they going to continue to tell people, yes, we need more progressives in Congress? Like, the ones that we have now, there have been times when they could have used their leverage to get things passed or to stop things from being passed, and they haven't done it. So I'm just like, putting more people in there, it doesn't really matter, because I feel like it's not so much the people, it's the system that's in place that is corrupt. And that's the reason why they're falling in line. And I don't understand why they can't figure that out. Or do you think they can't figure that out, or you think they just don't want to hear it?
I think that I think it's a mixture of both, right? I think by and large they know what's happening, right? That's why I try to quote Sam in our debate of things he had previously said, because he said that Force the Vote was a good idea. He said that, yeah, sure, I understand the principle and I support the idea of forcing vote on Medicare for all, even if it doesn't pass, because then you get a vote on it and it sets as a marker, like a benchmark for future votes when we might have more progressives in, say, the Senate. So he understands this very well, but they're now choosing to play dumb, and they're choosing to protect the squad. You heard in our conversation, I was starting to go through some of the main examples. I have 18 examples. I went through all 460, however many votes there have been in this session of Congress in 2021. And found all the times where there were must-pass bills that passed by a margin that were smaller than the squad's numbers in Congress. And there was like 18 examples, and some of them were terrible. Capitol Police funding, 12% increase to the State Department budget. These are terrible things that a progressive should not vote for in the first place. And I started to list all of them. And then you heard Sam Cedar go, Jackson, stop listing. I could list stuff too. Stop listing. It's like, well, these are the things that you're choosing to ignore. This is the list that you're choosing to ignore. You need to understand that these are the given instances in which they could have been forcing the vote, which you said was a good idea just about a year ago. So I think it's half and half. I think for the most part, though, they're just choosing to ignore this stuff and choosing to just act like the squad still can't do anything. They don't have enough power when they do.
Dieter said, any hope for an end to online left infighting? Thanks so much for the super chat, Dieter.
Um, it's not it's not online left infighting when you're not on the left. You know, like these people that we dunk on, they're not left. What is left? They're not left. You know, like, okay, we're gonna act like Sam Cedar, the guy that said he supports a 12% increase in State Department funding, is less. Okay, sure. We're gonna say the guy that said that he doesn't have he doesn't care about a $1.9 billion increase in Capitol Police and security, which is now being used to fund Capitol Police intelligence units all across the country, which are spying on and creating dossiers on Congress people, their staff, and the private citizens who are meeting with them. We're going to say that guy's a leftist. No, these are not leftists. And here's another thing. If you look at any successful, socialist revolution throughout history, or, socialist movement throughout history, they always became highly factionalized. And this was done in an effort to, sort out who the fakes are, who the frauds are, and who the not necessarily pure people are, but who the people who actually have a good head on their shoulder are, and who are actually trying to fight for the right issues. Sam Cedar is not a leftist. He's a liberal, and liberalism is always throughout history has always been where fascism finds its home. You look at you look at Benito Mussolini. He was literally a socialist. He was a socialist during his youth. And through liberal influence and corporate funding, he joined in with big business to bring austerity to the workers' movements and force it upon them through his crew of, fascist gang members that were funded by a lot of, U.S. and U.K. companies. He forced austerity upon them all. So this is literally where fascism finds its home. I have no sympathy for the squad. I have no sympathy for Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, any of these people. They're lying frauds. They're not leftists. And I honestly think that it is their saying, oh, this is leftist infighting. It was cute at the start, right? Everyone's like, oh, leftist infighting, right? But that's really the label that they have placed on all of this, because that's the only way that they can still remain in anyone's eyes as being a part of the left. Because if you are just following the debates and what they actually say, it's quite clear they're not a part of the left.
Agreed. I mean, guys, what you have to understand is last summer when we were doing the marches for Medicare for all, which was in I think it ended up being over 50 cities across the country. Some of those same people didn't want us to do it, you guys. They didn't want us to march for Medicare for all. They told us that it was we were being divisive because we were connecting with people that were not just on the left. I mean, people on the right need healthcare too. And these same people, the Majority Report, Hassan Piker, the TYT crowd, they were attacking us because we wanted to march for Medicare for all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you know what the crazy part is about Hassan too, is Hassan even has some good policy points that I agree with him on, more so than Cenk or Sam, but the crazy thing about Hassan is, even though he still has some better political opinions than others, he will still go out of his way to shit on people like you and Nick Cruz and me and Jimmy Dore, even though he agrees with us on more issues than Cenk or Sam or Anna Kasparian or any of them. So I'll never understand that. But all I know is it's really suspicious behavior. And, Hassan is with, I think he's with CAA. He's with one of those PR agencies. It's all sus stuff, that, what's her name? The individual who came out against Harvey Weinstein. She always talks about this stuff about how CAA is protecting the most disgusting people in Hollywood. And it's all intelligence tied and, tied to the Democratic Party. I don't trust any of that stuff. It's very suspicious to me when Hassan Piker goes trending on the editorial recommended trending page on Twitter for 5 days because of this glossy New York Times article they wrote about him. It's very weird to me. And, the fact that everything is aligned against us. Yes, Rose McGowan, thank you to whoever said that. The people who come after us, they always use the same talking points. that literally are meaningless. They say we're part of some sort of red-brown alliance, and they say we're part of a red-brown alliance. Vosh says the same thing. Vosh says, "Oh, you talk like a neo-Nazi." Vosh literally just had an anti-Semitic, statement he set out on his show, and he keeps repeating it over and over. Yesterday, and he said this before. He's saying that the Rockefeller family is people shouldn't criticize the Rockefeller family as being like a powerful, family because they're Jewish or something like that. They're not Jewish. He was making the case that like anti-Semitic people talk about them because they're Jewish. They're not Jewish. What? Just because they're rich and powerful and they're a powerful financial family, apparently they're Jewish in Vosh's eyes now. So really, in all actuality, they are the Red-Brown Alliance. They are the conspiracy theorists who are making up stuff based on State Department talking points. They are the anti-Semitic people. And it's just a lot of projection at the end of the day.
No, I agree. I've noticed like anytime you try to talk about like the class issue, they'll come at you. Like they've smeared so many of us, you guys. Like they've called me, I've been called a secret right winger. I've been called racist. I've been called sexist. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous. But like, and there are troll farms. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but they're actually like these troll groups on Twitter. And as soon as you say something, they will just come after you. And I know this because I've been in like these DM groups before months ago, didn't really understand what was happening at the time. And then when I saw what was happening, like G Hive and all of them, I'm like, this is just absolutely ridiculous. They have nothing else to do. Meanwhile, while we're trying to do things like direct action, mutual aid, and organizing with people in our communities, they're not doing anything. No. All they do is attack people all the time. They're not trying to bring people together. They just want to continue to tear down anything that people try to build outside of electoral politics.
Yeah. And that's the other funny thing is like all of these DSA types, they're literally like, organize, get off the internet, organize. That's what they hit the streets, go knock on some doors. First of all, if a DSA person came and knocked on my door, I'd shut it straight in their face. That's that is the last thing I want, knocking on my door. But also it's like, why is it that you're so pro getting out in the streets? You're so pro knocking on doors. You're so pro getting off the internet but then when you guys do it, for liberal causes, for when you're working within the confines, of the Democratic Party, you're supportive of this, right? To get AOC elected into the Democratic Party, to get, Justice Democrat X, Y, or Z that's endorsed by DSA to get into the Democratic Party. You're so supportive of this. Okay, yes, get out in the streets. But then if it's anything challenging the Democratic Party or the Justice Democrats, oh, no. Then it doesn't count. Then it doesn't count. And you're actually hurting the movement. It's like, okay. Yeah. So the Force the Vote protest that had like 60 people in DC on January 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of last year. It's like, that was apparently hurting the movement to go out and to the nation's capital and fight for Medicare for all. Okay. General Strike Summit, having people come together, that was apparently hurting the movement. And then the eviction moratorium rent cancellation thing, they said that was hurting the movement. I mean, it's these people are insane and they're so hypocritical. And I think they also just fail to acknowledge that actually getting involved online on YouTube, on Twitter, this is where the majority of the people in the country are. I mean, it's 2022. You'll hear people say like, oh, that's just the online left. Well, the online left is the left. That's America. Who's not online? I mean, a few people, sure, but like the majority of people are online, and it's so weird to distinguish online left versus real left. It's like, this is the same thing. It's 2022.
No, it's true. I just like, I don't tell you guys about some of these things because I don't want to scare you, like, to be honest. But when we did the General Strike Summit, like the amount of like attacks that we got was just astronomically ridiculous. Yeah. It was absolutely ridiculous. And meanwhile, those people weren't trying to do anything. And there were people saying that we didn't have any activists on, any union leaders on. Obviously, that was not true if you saw it, but they'll just say whatever just to get people to continue to focus on the Democratic Party and trying to do things that way through electoral politics, which I can argue this a number of ways. But one thing I've noticed is that the poverty situation in this country is not being solved through electoral politics. And that's something I feel like a lot of these candidates, and a lot of people have come on this show, progressive candidates about over a year ago, a lot of people have come on and they all have good intentions and they all have like a lot of hope and belief that they're going to be the next one that's going to come in and they're going to do the right thing, the things that the squad could not do. And I honestly think they genuinely believe that. But the problem is, it's the system that they're going into. This is why people like AOC, Cori Bush, this is why like they won't push back. They just fall in line.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they push back on all the wrong things, right? They push back on like random culture war issues. It's like, well, okay, so let's truly address these culture issues if you want, right? Let's truly address them. How are we going to do that? Through economic solutions, right? That's how you do it. I mean, look at what China's done. They've been able to lift 850 million people out of extreme poverty over 40 years, which is insane, by having a 5-year economic plan for the whole country and 5-year economic plans for deeply impoverished regions, as well as guaranteing food, compulsory education, stable housing with electricity and water, clothing, all free healthcare. These are all like how you actually address the culture issues, and maybe make this country a little bit less divisive. But they don't want to do that. They literally abandon every single opportunity they have to do that, and instead go out and tweet about culture issues without actually doing anything to address them. And to address them, you need to address the very deep rooted economic issues that we have here. So I don't know. It's like it's all a bunch of theater, you know?
Agreed.